So here we are. We're at the fourth fourth step and fourth movement of this week's series. And today we're going to move through the grounding, enlivening, enriching, and then today we'll be adding a component which is expanding. And so I will be using the metaphor of the inner mountain to expand a bit more. And so that's what we will be doing together. So we'll start with the sound of a bell. Arriving here and now. Taking a few long, deep breaths. As you breathe out, settling down, maybe resting down towards earth. Mindfulness, front and center, and maybe all the way around. And heartfulness may be here too. And a bodyfulness. Sensing this body sitting. Releasing the weight of the body towards earth. Allow this earthy body resting on earth. Sensing ground underneath. Studying grounding. Releasing preoccupations, plans, let yourself be grounded. Sitting like a mountain. And a life mountain within. quiet, still, and steady. The movements of the breath may naturally come forth. Like a breeze in the mountain, sensing aliveness. The breath flows throughout the body. Enlivening the inner mountain. You feel the sensations on the feet, legs, hands, shivering, swaying, gentle sway. Receiving the felt sense of a life breath coursing through the whole body. The waves of emotions may come in, thoughts, a rich part of being human. Just simply open to receive the felt sense of emotions, the texture of the thoughts, like the weather systems in the mountain. expanding the field of awareness around the edges of the body and open to include the space all around. Just like the mountain surrounded, imbued by the spaciousness all around. And you expand to include the spaciousness that's right here. The spaciousness that can hold sensations in the body, movements in the mind. Nothing is excluded. There is room for everything. resting in a spacious field of knowing. Our spaciousness can hold conflicts, disagreements, and we may say it's a kind space. sensing and feeling the movements of the breath. Returning to the grounded place through the body. Maybe the sense of an earthy body resting on earth. Thank you, everyone. I feel like I'm navigating this YouTube world a little bit because the video for me is a bit frozen, but I feel a little relief to see some chat messages from you all. Hopefully it all has been going okay. So I'm going to switch gear and offer the third simile in this sutta that I've been sharing this past week, Samyutta Nikaya 22.101. And this last couple of similes, the chicken and eggs and the ass handle, kind of offered some different aspects of how we practice. And this last simile is that of the rope that ties the ship, kind of, docking the ship or something. So it's got yet another different flavor. So let me read this simile to you first. Suppose there was a seafaring ship bound together with ropes. For 6 months, they deteriorated in the water. Then, in the cold season, it was hauled up on dry land where the ropes were weathered by wind and the sun. When the clouds soaked it with rain, the ropes would readily collapse and rot away. In the same way, when a practitioner is committed to development, their fetters, or you can say defilements or taints, readily collapse and rot away. I know this is a very vivid simile, this ropes tying the ship and the ropes soaked in the water for a long time. And then in the cold season, when the ship is not going, they're hauled up in dry land and the ropes are under the weather, in the sun, in the wind. And then the cloud soaked with rain, rain clouds soaked the ropes more. And then eventually the ropes readily collapse and rot away. In the same way that the practitioners, when we develop, and the taints fade away in this way. For me, it has a very different flavor that this simile captured when we compare it to the previous 2 similes. With the simile of the eggs and the chicken, and it's highlighting, that's one way to understand it, that it's highlighting that one would need to practice sincerely and properly. And when the hearts and minds are cultivated that way, the chicks would hatch. And the second simile, the simile of ass handle, the carpenters are holding the handle for a long time, and highlights that the release of the strong, deep tendencies of grasping is not to be measured, evaluated, but we stay cultivating. Now, with this simile, first, just to feel that sense of the ropes being soaked in this weather, different weathers and different times of the day. And the sense I have is that the long arc of our practice journey, we will surely go through all kinds of seasons and meet all kinds of human conditions. The gains, the loss, the gains of different kinds, material, immaterial, and the loss of all kinds, loss of loved ones, loss of physical, mental capacities, unfortunate events, experiencing things that are individually to us and collectively. And so it's like this different weather systems, different phases of our lives, whether we prefer or not, but the practice continues no matter what the conditions and situations we're in. Kind of like the ropes, keeps on getting soaked in all these different conditions. And our willingness and the dedication to stay in the practice field, in the practice stream, no matter what situation we're in, is how our practice matures. And this is certainly not easy to do, and not just easy, but at times it can feel really, really difficult. And through the practice, we learn to gradually, little by little, whether it's in the difficult situations or in kind of comfortable situations, we learn to choose whether to become reactive, which leads more stress and dukkha, or we choose something that is a kind of a release of reactivity and not add more dukkha. And for me, a lot of our reactivities feels more like tying knots of the rope, rather than releasing the rope, let the ropes loosen up and soften, let the thread be softened, kind of released and not tied up. But the reactivity gets us knotted up. And so this particular simile reminded me of a teaching that Ajahn Sumedho sometimes would say, and that in our practice, we choose to stand under dukkha. We choose to stand under dukkha. We're not running away from different situations and conditions in our lives, but rather we choose to stand under dukkha. We learn from it, we meet it, we explore them, we understand it, and then over time, we learn how to empower ourselves to choose not to add more stress. And since we've done all three similes in this sequence, I wanted to just summarize a little bit the overarching flavor of this three similes. I was struck by the fact that all of these similes together, if you feel into it, there is no sense of a kind of brute force of pushing our way through in the cultivation process, right? First we don't tinker with the eggs to kind of somehow break the shells prematurely, nor do we try to do something crazy about the ass handle by force. And we just kind of keep holding it and keep working with it. And there is a kind of a timelessness in the practice. And in this simile, nowhere in the sutta it would say, oh, let's kind of, cut the rope up. It doesn't work like that. But rather, we let ourselves meet the situations of life as they are. And the rope kind of rots on its own, naturally. And so in this way, maybe we can say that we are being practiced by the forces of our lives, by including all parts of one's life in the practice field. And gradually, freedom is born. Freedom naturally comes forth. And so, the notions like shortcuts, efficiency, speed, and this are not the orientation of the Dharma practice. And so it's this kind of a patiently showing up, but be really curious to learn in all these situations. And there is a kind of compassionate and kind attitude built in here. And you may be able to feel this right there. And I wanted to read in Gil's new book, Everything is Practice, even though it's speaking about retreat practice, but I would say it can be extended to practicing in our life in general. In the foreword of this book, Ines, one of our IRC teachers, IMC teachers, said this in this book. And she said, Gil points to a mature practice that includes every aspect of ourselves, with nothing left out, fostering a deep sense of self-acceptance and understanding, a practice that both provides for the solitude of deep meditation and the connection of a practice in community with others. He emphasizes a practice that points to freedom possible in every aspect of our lives, including in our wider world. So may that be an aspiration to all of us. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of the day. May you all be well.